On the threshold of the upcoming 2026 World Cup, a multitude of rare events, unlike any previous tournament, are unfolding right before our eyes, most notably a massive betting and match fixing syndicate that has just been exposed. Organizing a global sporting event like the 2026 World Cup is a highly complex issue requiring meticulous preparation from transport infrastructure and security to media relations. Yet just before the opening day, a deeply troubling issue is occurring, threatening to destroy all the hard work of the three co-host nations, the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Just try to imagine. We are living in the most vibrant days of world football, when millions of fans' hearts are turning toward North America, waiting for fiery matches. The streets of New York, Toronto, or Mexico City should have been filled with flags, laughter, and endless cheering songs. But no, a massive dark cloud has suddenly rolled in, covering this entire festive atmosphere. A true media bomb has just detonated in the heart of the football world, shaking all the moral foundations and trust we have painstakingly built over the centuries. I sit here in the recording studio, looking at the stack of classified documents just sent by the world's largest news agencies, and truly feel a chill down my spine. A profound sense of bitterness rises in my chest. We are talking about the World Cup, the most prestigious tournament on the planet, where the brightest stars, the most magical feat, and the greatest tactical minds converge. This is not a meaningless friendly tournament or a low-interest regional competition. This is the 2026 World Cup, a historic World Cup with 48 participating teams, held for the first time, carrying so much hope for a new era of football. Yet right at this moment, all those beautiful things are on the verge of being ruthlessly sullied by dark underworld force. Match fixing allegations. These four words ring out like a thunderbolt, tearing through the glamorous curtain of the king of sports. These are not just baseless rumors on social media forums or casual gossip outside football cafes. These are official, well-founded accusations currently being investigated by the world's leading security agencies with a series of undeniable pieces of evidence. The documents indicate that a massive illegal betting network has extended its hideous tentacles deep into the tournament system. They do not merely target low-interest group stage matches, but even have the ambition to manipulate crucial survival matches in the knockout rounds. Do you understand the severity of this issue? Tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, or even billions of dirty dollars are surging beneath the submerged ice of the football world. Faceless individuals, sitting in dark rooms thousands of miles away, are trying to control the heartbeat of the round ball on North American pitches. They treat the players, the human beings who are wearing the colors of an entire nation, the honor of an entire people, like mindless pawns on a calculated chessboard. They bribe, threaten, or use the most despicable tactics to bend the match results to their will, hoping to reap massive profits pouring into the private pockets of hidden bosses. What pains me the most is not the massive amount of lost money, but the trust of the fans being blatantly betrayed. Think about the poor working people who had to scrape together every meager paycheck for 4 years just to afford a stadium ticket to witness their idols play in person. Think about the children carrying a burning dream of football, skipping breakfast to save money for a national team jersey. They come to the World Cup with all their love, wild enthusiasm, and the purest trust. They believe that every drop of sweat falling on the pitch is a wholehearted effort for the glory of the nation. They believe that the tears rolling down the players' cheeks in victory or defeat are the most genuine emotions from the bottom of their hearts. Yet now, all those sacred emotions are being trampled upon. When a match is fixed, it is no longer a sporting competition, but becomes a pre-written play that is terrible and ridiculous. Every misplaced pass, every missed shot, Every wrong decision by the referee can now be suspected as the result of some shady transaction. Skepticism eats away at the true sporting spirit, turning a cultural exchange festival into a chaotic mess of doubt. The feeling of being deceived is truly terrifying. It is like a slow acting poison seeping into every cell, eroding away love and passion. I myself, a person who has spent my entire youth following, commenting on, and living with the rhythm of football, am also feeling disoriented. This event at the 2026 World Cup is not merely a sports scandal, but it is also a wake-up call about the degradation of morality and the terrifying power of the allure of money. How can we continue to cheer and celebrate knowing that the outcome of the match was predetermined by underworld forces? How can true players safely compete and dedicate themselves when they know their efforts could be washed away by the betrayal of their own teammates or the referees on the pitch? Across all newspapers, across all sports forums, from Asia to Europe, from Africa to the Americas, everywhere we see sensational headlines about this scandal. People are discussing, arguing, feeling outraged, and collapsing. The atmosphere ahead of the 2026 World Cup has never become so stifling and tense. High-ranking officials of the World Football Federation are racing against time, holding emergency meetings day and night to find a way to resolve the crisis. But what can they do when the roots of this poisonous tree have plunged so deep into the ground? The drama is being pushed to a climax as every passing hour reveals new details. The names beginning to be mentioned, even if only insinuations, are enough to create earthquakes within the national teams. Head coaches are having headaches dealing with public pressure while trying to protect the psychology of their students. But how can one maintain calm focus in the eye of the storm? This is truly an immense challenge for world football. We are standing at a historic crossroads, a decisive moment for the future of the king of sports. Will the light of truth and justice pierce through the dark curtain of the betting underworld, or will football sink deep into a dark era full of deceit and lies? The current panorama is too horrifying for us to ignore, and to fully understand the root cause of this nightmare, we must peel back every layer of the dark history behind it. Going back in time to the historic days of the king of sports, we cannot help but mention the brilliant glory of past World Cups. For decades, the prestigious gold trophy has traveled across many continents, from the sun-drenched and windy pitches of South America to the magnificent arenas in Europe or the most modern stadiums in Asia and Africa. Each host nation carries a dream, a massive national pride to showcase their cultural and economic power to the whole world. We once witnessed a romantic France lifting the championship trophy on their own homeland in 1998, creating an unprecedented earthquake of joy and national unity, or a resilient Germany hosting a magnificent 2006 World Cup, leaving deep impressions of discipline, enthusiasm, and the power of collective spirit. The audience must surely still get goosebumps recalling the wild sound of the vuvuzela horns echoing endlessly in South Africa in 2010, bringing African football into the world spotlight with great pride. Most recently, the miraculous performance of Qatar in 2022, an unprecedented Winter World Cup, proved that money and extraordinary effort can turn a barren desert into lush green carpets and magnificent stadiums right out of a fairy tale. Those successes are undeniable. Hosting the World Cup brings massive economic benefits, boosting tourism, creating millions of jobs, and elevating the host nation's position on the global map. But accompanying that brilliant light, there always exist terrifying dark patches, hidden corners that not everyone wants to mention. The history of this great tournament is not only written with beautiful goals, brilliant saves, or emotional celebrations. It is also stained by allegations, dark ripples regarding refereeing, the transparency in every pass, and the terrifying pressure placed on the host nation's shoulders. You surely have not forgotten the disaster of Brazilian football right at home in 2014 when they painfully collapsed against the German team. That downfall was not just a professional sorrow, but also exposed a series of social issues, the dissatisfaction of the people when the government spent billions of dollars on football while countless laborers still struggled to survive. Or further back is the 2002 World Cup hosted in South Korea and Japan. It was a brilliantly successful tournament commercially, but it also left one of the hardest to wash stains in football history. The highly controversial whistle blows of the black-shirted referees, the distorted whistles, robbed obvious victories from strong teams like Italy or Spain to pave the way for the home team to advance deep into the inner rounds. The trust of the fans at that time was severely fractured. Millions of spectators globally angrily protested and boycotted the sporting values that were being blatantly manipulated. And that was not the only time doubt crept into our minds. From the early World Cups to the modern football era, the ghost of fraud always lurks, threatening to swallow the best values. We have heard about matches suspected of being fixed in the group stages, intentionally missed shots, silly fouls leading to unjust penalties. Whenever a weak team unexpectedly defeats a giant, or a match ends with a crazy, unimaginable script, the first question that pops into many people's minds is not admiration, but rather suspicion, whether any hand is manipulating everything. This shows that the trust of sports fans is truly very fragile. It is like a beautifully gorgeous but extremely fragile glass painting. We love football unconditionally, but we are also ready to turn our backs if we discover we are being deceived, being treated like puppets in a game of power and money by underworld forces. Returning to the present, three nations, the United States, Mexico, and Canada, had to overcome countless difficulties and challenges to win the right to co-host this historic tournament. They have invested billions of dollars into infrastructure, upgrading the most modern stadium systems, preparing the most perfect scenarios for security in order to welcome the world. The United States wants to affirm its position as a sports superpower. Mexico yearns to relive the glorious memories of fiery World Cups imbued with Latin cultural identity in the past. And Canada wants to prove that the land of maple leaves can also be as passionate about the round ball as anywhere else in the world. Yet those massive ambitions, those great dreams, are on the verge of total collapse before this scandal storm. The chronic disease of world football, the disease of greed and deceit, seems to have become immune to all preventive medicines. It not only exists, but has evolved to be more sophisticated, more ruthless, and on a much larger scale than anything we have ever witnessed. Fans have tried to forget the dark corners, the sad memories of previous tournaments, to continue nurturing faith in a clean and fair football. We have trusted modern technology systems like video assistant referees, trusted strict legal deterrence measures from the federations. We firmly believed that with the tight supervision of thousands of cameras and millions of eyes globally, the darkness would have no place to hide. But reality is delivering a crushing blow to the faces of true football lovers. Just when we think everything is running at its best and most transparent, that is exactly when the worst nightmare strikes from an angle no one expected. History has proven many times that the most bitter defeats do not come from weakness on the green grass, but come from the rot at the top management level. When moral foundations are violently shaken, when fairness is bought with shady funds, all the most glorious victories become meaningless and cheap. This 2026 World Cup should have been an epic, singing the praises of international solidarity and noble sportsmanship. but now it risks turning into a tear-soaked indictment, exposing the barest and ugliest truths of humanity. And to deeply understand why the perpetrators could easily infiltrate, manipulate, and destroy this seemingly impenetrable defense system, we are forced to dig deep into the roots of the dark plots, the devilish contracts being secretly signed right under the noses of billions of fans. At this point, you are surely wondering how a criminal network could bypass the state-of-the-art security system of a tournament the size of the 2026 World Cup. The answer lies in the sheer enormity of this tournament itself. With the expansion to 48 participating teams, the number of matches skyrockets, bringing with it a massive volume of financial transactions, television rights, and betting cash flows. The underworld bosses saw a golden opportunity, a fatal loophole in this hasty expansion. When there are too many matches, strict control in every corner becomes impossible. A series of teams from struggling nations became easy prey for the magical allure of money. They strike right at greed and fear. A massive bribe coupled with threats aimed at the safety of families has forced many people to close their eyes and step across the moral line. The operational methods of this syndicate are what truly make investigators shudder. Long gone are the days when people carried suitcases full of cash to secret meetings. Illegal betting organizations today operate like multinational technology corporations. They use cryptocurrency, virtual bank accounts in tax havens, and encrypted messaging platforms to erase all transaction traces. Dirty money flows through dozens of different conversion systems before landing neatly in the digital wallet of a referee or a player. This sophistication leads all efforts to track the money flow into a dead end. We are facing criminal minds who know how to exploit the digital age to turn football into a massive illegal money printing machine. And more ruthlessly, they do not just manipulate the final win or loss, but they stab invisible knives through the form of micromatch fixing. Micromatch fixing is a terrifying concept that is corroding football from the inside. Bettors do not need to bribe the entire team, but only target a few individuals. A harmless yellow card in the 10th minute, an unnecessary corner kick at the end of the first half, or a technically flawed throw-in can all be bet on with millions of dollars on underground exchanges. Spectators in the stadium still passionately cheer for every pass without knowing that every single detail has been perfectly directed. The bribed players act so masterfully that even veteran analysts find it hard to distinguish between a professional mistake and an act of selling out one's conscience. This disgustingly sophisticated deception turns matches into theatrical stages where we fans pay for tickets to watch despicable plays. The real earthquake erupted when an international police alliance decided to pull the net after months of silent surveillance. An unprecedented large-scale raid was conducted simultaneously in 15 countries, smashing dozens of underground headquarters, seizing hundreds of servers containing dark data. Leaked audio recordings clearly show ruthless bargaining, demanding a penalty at all cost in stoppage time. When this information was announced, the entire sports world seemed to stop breathing. Breaking news bulletins simultaneously interrupted broadcasts to deliver the bad news, shaking the audience. Electronic billboards at major squares in North America that should have been playing promotional videos for the tournament are now flashing text about mass arrest warrants for high-ranking officials. The truth exposed so bare strangles all the joyful emotions of the festival. Names once honored are now on the blacklists of investigative agencies. A total collapse in terms of image, causing the reputation of the Football Federation to hit the deepest bottom in history. The public outrage is boiling like a volcano ready to erupt. Millions of calls to cancel the tournament and boycott sponsors are spreading at breakneck speed. People cannot tolerate a deceitful festival, a tournament blatantly manipulated right on the land that prides itself on transparency. This is a fatal blow aimed straight at the hearts of true sports lovers, a ruthless betrayal of noble values. Trust has been cruelly trampled upon, and fans are demanding a comprehensive purge to bring the culprits to light. The devastating tornado is sweeping away all efforts to heal, all promises of a clean World Cup. Standing amidst the ruins of trust, people only feel stunned and empty. All justifications at this moment become meaningless before the ironclad evidence being exposed in broad daylight. But amidst the depths of despair, we always yearn to find a tiny ray of light, a path out of the mud. But my friends, amidst the vast siege of darkness, the truth always finds a way to shine. No matter how sophisticated the cover-up efforts, the evil will eventually have to face the light of justice. Right now, as we are analyzing this mess together, an iron-fisted campaign, unprecedented in sports history, is being fiercely deployed by the World Football Federation alongside international law enforcement agencies. They understand that this is no longer the time to offer empty apologies or lenient formal penalties. This is a life or death moment, a battle for survival to win back the soul of the king of sports. A painful but absolutely necessary major surgery is being performed to permanently remove the malignant tumor destroying the body of football. The strongest decisions have been made right at the emergency meeting table. There are no forbidden zones, no exceptions. Whether the corrupted individual is a top world superstar, a veteran coach, or a powerful president with decades in office, all must bow before the law. A series of lifetime bans from all football activities have been firmly declared, stripping away all titles and deceitful glories they once won. The purge does not stop at the surface, but strikes directly at the roots of the management system. An independent global oversight committee has just been urgently established, gathering the world's leading experts in financial investigation, anti-money laundering, and cybersecurity. They are granted absolute power to inspect and review all cash flows, all bank accounts of every individual involved in the tournament, from players, coaching staff, referees, to high-ranking officials. Any abnormal sign, no matter how small, will be dragged into the light. Furthermore, a state-of-the-art artificial intelligence system for monitoring betting has just been activated. The artificial intelligence will analyze millions of transaction data points on both legal and illegal betting platforms in real time, immediately detecting unusual odds fluctuations that coincide with situations on the pitch. Thanks to this, despicable micro-fixing tricks like an intentional throw-in or a deliberate yellow card will no longer have a chance to bypass security forces. The most important thing in this cleansing effort is protecting those who dare to stand up and speak the truth. An anonymous hotline and a strict witness protection system have just been established to encourage anyone in the football world to bravely report approaches and bribes from the underworld. Young players, the most vulnerable individuals, now have a solid shield to protect themselves against demonic temptations. The Federation is also working day and night to restructure the entire referee assignment system, ensuring absolute randomness and transparency, cutting off all shady connections between the referees and external forces. Although this process is extremely arduous and will face fierce resistance from criminal gangs, the determination of the leaders has brought a fresh ray of hope. We must accept the heartbreaking truth that the 2026 World Cup will no longer be the perfect tournament we once expected. The festive atmosphere will certainly be affected, and skeptical eyes will still linger in the stands. But this collapse is not the end. It is a necessary wake-up call, a fierce storm washing away the rotting garbage to make way for a new seed of life to sprout. Football needs to go through this severe illness to forge a stronger resistance for itself. We fans who have dedicated our whole hearts to the round ball also need to hold on to our faith. Let us turn our outrage into the power of supervision. Let us accompany the cleansing efforts to return purity to the pitch. The tears falling today will be the tears that wash away the historical stains, opening a new era that is more transparent, fairer, and prouder. And that is when we realize the true value of sports lies not only in sparkling gold trophies, but in the spirit of dedication, honesty, and self-respect. The players stepping onto the field in the upcoming matches will carry a massive pressure on their shoulders. They will not only fight for the colors of their flag, but also fight to reclaim the honor of the very sport they pursue. Every running step, every tackle will be a firm affirmation that true football will never surrender to the power of money. The light is gradually glimmering at the end of the dark tunnel, shining upon the tireless efforts of those standing up to defend the truth. We cannot expect everything to become perfect overnight, but the current decisive steps are the first bricks to rebuild a solid, impenetrable football fortress. The drama of this World Cup now lies not only in the 90 minutes of play on the green grass, but also in the backstage battle against evil. The upcoming developments will certainly bring countless surprises, spectacular reversals in the courtrooms, and shocking public revelations. But with the joint hands of the entire international fan community, we absolutely have the right to believe in a happy ending. Football will eventually return to its original beauty, rustic, passionate, and deeply sacred. This biggest festival on the planet will go down in history not for its shameful stains, but because it is the place that witnesses the strongest rebirth of the sporting spirit. Dear friends, we have just gone through the most intense emotional levels together. From the extreme shock and outrage at the history-shaking scandal to the hope in the fierce cleansing campaigns currently taking place. The story of the 2026 World Cup will be talked about a lot in the future as a bloody lesson about vigilance against the bottomless greed of humanity. But after the rain comes the sun, after the devastating storms, the pitch will be green again and the ball will roll again, carrying the throbbing heartbeat of billions of sports-loving hearts across the planet. True power does not lie in the hands of underworld bosses or million-dollar betting contracts, but that power lies in the love, the passion, and the thirst for justice within each of us. Please continue to follow, continue to speak up, and continue to accompany the team you love, because football is only truly meaningful with the presence of the fans. This historic event is still unfolding in a highly complex manner, with new details being updated every hour, every minute. To not miss any breaking news about the biggest match-fixing investigation of all time, as well as in-depth analysis of the upcoming matches, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Let us know what you think about the penalties for those who fix matches and whether this year's World Cup can regain its purity. Goodbye, and see you again in the next fiery news bulletins on our channel.